Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be doing a reading wrap up for the months of August through October. I read 12 books in that time. I know I'm holding up 4, but most of the books I read were on my Kindle. We also, probably can see him, we have a special guest who is leaving. So I wanted to try to do monthly reading wrap ups, but I got really busy. This whole year has been really busy. I was doing a leadership training at work from January through August. I got married at the end of July, had my honeymoon in September. We did a transatlantic cruise from Florida to Spain. We were gone for 3 full weeks. So very, very busy year. But my reading has really picked up since the wedding, and I'm really excited because I love to read. Let's just get into it and go over the 12? I think 12 books. I don't know if I said 13. I read 12 books, I believe. I don't know. So start off, Chapterhouse, Dune. Oh, the Dune series. I will say, so I'm reading this series, or I did read the Dune series because my husband read them, and we kind of had a deal like, hey, if you're gonna read Through on Glass and stuff, can you read my books, Dune, and you know, other books. So I read the Dune series, and I gotta say, I did not like this book at all. I liked the first 3 books, Dune, Dune Messiah, and Children of Dune. The last 3 books, God Emperor, Heretics, and Chapterhouse, no. I honestly would have DNF'd this if I hadn't committed to reading the whole series. So I gave Chapterhouse Dune 1.5 stars. It was okay. The first 3 books follow Paul Atreides, and then the next 3 books, because that's the original trilogy, and then the next 3 books, book 4 follows Paul's son, Leto. Why am I forgetting that? His son, Leto. God Emperor of Dune follows Leto, and then Heretics and Chapterhouse kind of follow, like, totally different characters, basically. And this one was just really drawn out and boring, and there was a lot of going around talking to people, but not really that much, like, happening. I'm not really going to go into it because this is the 6th book in the series, but I will say, didn't enjoy it. If you're going to read the Dune series, highly recommend books 1 through 3. Books 3 through 6, nah. So that was Chapterhouse Dune. And then I switched over to Kindle reading in anticipation for going on my cruise. I don't like to bring physical books with me. It's not really practical. So I like to bring my Kindle. So we get into a whole bunch of Kindle reads in this next part. So what I read next was What Moves the Dead by T. Kingfisher. This is a horror book. I read it in like a day. It's only 165 pages. It's not very long at all. But this book follows the Usher siblings, Roderick and Malin. Our main character is a soldier that served with Roderick, and they get a piece of mail that says, hey, Malin's like really sick. Can you come out? Like, she's basically dying. So our soldier gets to their estate, and I can't remember the country, if it's real or made up. I think the country they serve in might be made up, I'm not entirely sure. But our soldier gets there, and the whole estate and area around it just feels dead. Like, everything is very still. The lake in front of the estate is murky. You don't know what's going on underneath. There's these weird, like, mushrooms growing everywhere, and our main character actually runs into a mycologist, and the mycologist is like, yeah, I'm studying all these mushrooms, and that plays an important part. But when our soldier enters the house, they find that Malin is like a walking corpse, basically. She's super emaciated. She's got thick white hair growing all over her body, and it's really strange. Not only that, but the wildlife around the house is acting weird. Specifically hares. Usually when you approach one, they will run away, but the hares in this one, they just kind of stand there and stare at you, and they're just acting really off. They're walking funny. There's this big mystery, which I'm not going to go into because it's spoilers, but I thought this book was really fun. Short read, characters were funny. This is my first T. Kingfisher book, and I will be reading more T. Kingfisher. And overall, I gave this one 4 stars. The next book I read was Diavola by Jennifer Thorne. I was kind of on a horror kick. I don't know why. I think because we watched The Fall of the House of Usher on Netflix, and I was like, yes, I want more gore and horror. So I read Diavola next. As I said, it's a horror. This one's also pretty short, like 296 pages. It follows our main character, Anna, who is going on a family trip to Italy with her family. They're going to be staying in a villa in Tuscany. Right off the bat, Anna's family is absolutely insufferable. Honestly, Anna herself is also kind of insufferable, but her family is just like, remember that thing you did when you were like 5? Yeah, we still hate you for it. And it's like, why? It's so ridiculous. But they get to this villa and Anna shows up late and she immediately notices there's something weird about the villa. No one's in the house, and she's hearing doors shut by themselves, and she's like, oh, that's kind of strange. And the longer they stay there, the more weird things happen. Weird dreams, like food being left out on the table just becomes super moldy and like has maggots in it. And all of the locals kind of seem to stay away from them, and they know something's up with the house. This book, it was pretty good. I did give it 4 stars. But again, the main character was kind of annoying. I liked that it was kind of season 1 AHS vibes. That's kind of how I would describe the book. And I love season 1 of AHS. I did get annoyed, but honestly, if I had to go back and rate this, I probably would give it 3.5 stars instead of 4. They said so many times that the main character was like, she can speak Italian because she's been doing Duolingo. It's like, I've been doing Duolingo and you're not that fluent. So I was getting a bit annoyed with that. But The Haunting was pretty good. I would check it out. There was this really funny part towards the end, because our main character is a like artist for like advertising, I think. And there's this meeting and she's just getting so fed up with it, and they're like, we need to make these hot dogs look more energetic. And the main character goes, of course, an energetic hot dog. Like, oh, sorry. And I just thought that was really funny. So that was Diavola. 3.5 stars. Season 1 AHS vibes. Check it out if you're interested. The next book I read, I wish I had the copy of it. I borrowed it from a friend. Dungeon Crawler Carl. If you watched my last video, I actually did a tiny reading vlog. I tried to read as many pages as I could in an hour. And that was Dungeon Crawler Carl. Absolutely fantastic book. I asked for the rest of the series for Christmas. This book is by Matt Dinniman. The first book is 447 pages. It's currently a 7-book series. I think book 8 is coming out in the springtime of 2026. Oh my goodness. It's a literary RPG. I'd also say it's like sci-fi, comedy. Oh, it's just so good. It follows our main character, Carl, who is a retired US veteran, and he recently broke up with his girlfriend, found out she was cheating on him, and she's on a trip, so she's not even home. And he's just taking care of her award show-winning cat, Donut, who's like I think like a tortoiseshell. Donut escapes in the middle of the night, and he runs outside in his boxers and like a leather jacket and pink Crocs that don't fit him. He's trying to get Donut out of a tree when all of a sudden every building that he can see, as far as he can see, collapses to the ground. Everyone inside immediately dies. The apocalypse is upon us. Carl's like, what the fuck just happened? He and Donut are just outside like, oh my god. When suddenly a voice from above says, basically, this is the apocalypse. You have an hour to either enter a tunnel, which will take you into a dungeon, or you can stay on the surface and survive. Well, Carl, it's like January, and it's like 3 a.m., and Carl's like, well, I'm gonna get hypothermia if I stay out here. So he and Donut enter the tunnel, and they get transported into, I think, a 20 level? I can't remember exactly how many levels, but it was like 20 level dungeon where they have to try and make it to the bottom, and they are actually being televised on like an intergalactic TV show. They're basically contestants on a TV show stuck in this dungeon. And it's Reading this book makes you feel like you're in a video game. Like, literally, it's like Carl's getting achievements, which are hilarious, and there's mobs that he's attacking, like goblins, and I've heard the series only gets better. So this was a 5-star read for me. Probably my favorite read of the year. I will for sure be continuing the series. Also, don't let the paperback covers turn you off from the series, because if I had saw that and I was like, I don't know, and my friend read it and he's like, it's hilarious, so I borrowed it and I'm like, yes, this is hilarious. So don't let the paperback covers like deter you from the series. I would definitely recommend reading it. The next book, I actually have a physical copy of it. I actually read this on my Kindle. I bought this for my mom for Christmas. So we read The God of the Woods by Liz Moore. This is a mystery / thriller, 490 pages. This book follows a girl named Barbara in a summer camp. She mysteriously goes missing, but the thing is, her older brother actually went missing like 14 years prior at the same, like, in the same woods at the summer camp. So we have a lot of flashing back and forth to when the brother went missing, flashbacks of like different characters in the series, like the mother, the detective, the one camp counselor. Basically, we're trying to piece together what happened to Barbara, but also what happened to her brother 14 years ago. I only clocked half a star, so I gave this 4.5 stars, and I clocked half a star because I just hated the mom's perspective so much. She was very stereotypical housewife back in like 50s, 60s. I can't remember exactly what time period her flashbacks were, but she was just miserable, didn't want to do anything for herself, got stuck in some shitty marriage and just kind of stayed there and just hated life and became an alcoholic. That really put me off. So I clocked half a star, but otherwise I thought this was a great mystery, and my theories that I had didn't go through. They didn't happen. So I was pleasantly surprised that I wasn't able to figure out the plot twists. So I would definitely check this one out if you like mystery and thrillers. The next book I picked up was Problematic Summer Romance by Hazelwood on my Kindle. This book is 416 pages and I absolutely loved it. No notes. I gave it 5 stars. Perfect. Mwah. So this book follows our main character, Maya, who is in her mid-20s. She is going on a summer vacation to Greece? Italy? I honestly don't remember. I gave this book 5 stars and now I just can't even remember any details about it. But she goes on this trip, and her older brother is getting married. He's older by like 10 years, I think. She's kind of dreading this trip because her not ex-boyfriend is there, Connor. It's one of her brother's friends. They never actually dated. She is absolutely in love with him, and he is in love with her and not willing to admit it. This whole trip kind of flashes back between present day and them getting to know each other and what kind of happened and led them to their current situation, which is super tense. So this book has like age gap, Grumpy and Sunshine, slow burn, touch her and die vibes, and honestly I love this book and I can't tell you anything else about it. So that was Problematic Summer Romance, 5 stars. Next, I read Not Quite Dead Yet by Holly Jackson. I think this book was a little under 400 pages. I can't remember the exact page count. I did read this on my Kindle. This book was really good. It's a mystery thriller. I always just kind of combine the 2 genres together. Also apologize if you hear my Siamese crying his eyes out because he wants dinner and eating out daylight saving time really messed him up. So Not Quite Dead Yet by Holly Jackson. This book follows a girl. She's, I think, like 28 maybe. She's in her late 20s. On Halloween night, I think it's Halloween night, she comes home from a festival in her town and she gets struck in the back of the head 3 times, collapses to the floor, and her best neighbor friend thinks she's dead when he finds her. She survives. She's not quite dead yet. um, she goes to the hospital and they do all this work on her head, and they're like, yes, you were struck 3 times very violently, but you survived the surgery. And she's like, yeah, I can go back to my life. No. There is an aneurysm in her brain, and she has some kind of disease that makes her veins or arteries thin-walled. When that aneurysm like pops or blows up or whatever aneurysms do, which it will, she's gonna die. So she has about a week, basically. I think it's basically just a week. She can opt to have them try to do more surgery and remove the aneurysm. There's a super, super low chance of that actually working. Or she can live out her last 7 days and do that. So she decides to do the latter. She says, I didn't do jack shit with my life. The last thing I'm gonna do before I die is figure out who killed me. So she tells the police everything she knows, and then she sets off and tries to figure out who killed her. And she recruits her childhood best friend, and they try to solve the mystery together. This book was really good. I gave it 4.5 stars. Super heavy. Read this only if you're in the right headspace for something heavy, because some of the themes and stuff in it are pretty dark. I really enjoyed it though. There was a lot of discussion about end of life and mortality, and I will say some people didn't think the mystery was that good. I thought it was great. I didn't figure it out until the very end, so I thought the mystery was great. But yeah, that's not quite dead yet. The next book I picked up, another Kindle read, A Drop of Corruption by Robert Jackson Bennett. This is the second book in the Shadows of the Leviathan series. It's 465 pages, and it follows our main character, Dinniman Cole, better known as Din, as he solves another murder mystery with his immunist and Ana Delabra. This book was good. I gave it 4 stars. I didn't rate it quite as highly as The Tainted Cup. I gave that one 4.5 stars. I honestly kind of forgot a lot of the terminology from the first book. Like all the different, they have some stuff in the beginning with all the different military ranks and everything, but just some of the things I like couldn't really remember that well, and that took me out of it a little bit. I also just liked the mystery a little bit more in the first book, but this mystery was still very good. I also didn't see this one coming. This series is if like Sherlock Holmes met Attack on Titan. I love the vibes of that, so if you're into either of those things, this is a great series. The third book, I believe, is coming out sometime next year. I will definitely be continuing it. Even though I didn't quite like the second book as much, I will definitely be continuing. The next book I read was The Twisted Ones by T. Kingfisher. Another T. Kingfisher book. This is a horror. Read it on my Kindle, 385 pages. I gave it 3.5 stars. The main character in this was hilarious. So, our main character, Mouse, I can't remember her actual name. Maybe Melissa, but maybe? I don't honestly remember. But she goes by Mouse. She goes to her grandmother's house somewhere in the south because she recently died and she needs to, her father can't really, with his health, he can't really make it out there, so Mouse volunteers to unhoard her house and get it ready to sell. Yeah, this house is truly a hoarder house. It's bad. She goes down there and she starts hoeing everything out, and weird stuff kind of starts happening at night, and her dog kind of acts off, and there's something going on. And oh my goodness, yes, hello baby. There's definitely something weird going on. And she finds journals from her step-grandfather about the twisted ones, and there's this litany in there that, you know, he's got to twist himself about, like, the twisted ones and stuff like that, and there's something definitely going on. So Mouse is trying to figure out what all that is. I see you, buddy. And she's trying to uncover that mystery while also finding monsters in the woods around her. I gave this 3.5 stars because it was good, but some of the stuff was a little bit confusing. If you read the author's note, it was intentionally trying to be confusing, but I didn't really like that. So I would still give it a try. The main character is really funny. This book actually did give me nightmares because I read it while I was on vacation, and the dog in it goes missing at one point, the dog in the book. So I kept having dreams that my cats were going missing, which was not good. So yeah, the Twisted Ones. The next book I picked up was Legends and Lattes by Travis Baldree. I needed something light and fluffy after the Twisted Ones, so I picked this one up. It's a cozy fantasy, just under 300 pages, and it follows an orc named Viv who wants to get out of adventuring and settle down and open her own coffee shop. We get to follow Viv through this whole coffee shop opening, and it's just like day by day, like, okay, we opened the store and we have this new customer, and then we add this item to the menu, and we get this baker, and like it just kind of keeps building up on itself, and it's very chill. Very, very chill story. I gave it 4.5 stars. It was very cozy, and I just enjoyed the slow pace. I enjoyed reading about the delicious pastries, which made me want pastries all the time, and I think I'll pick up the other books in this series. Next, I read Nocticadia by Keri Lake. 5 stars. If I said Dungeon Crawler Carl was my favorite book of the year, this is my second favorite book. It's a dark romantasy, slash dark, like, academia, dark romance. I'm not good with genres, so that jumble of genres. 682 pages. It is a standalone. This book follows our main character, Lilia, who is, I believe, 20 years old. And she had a traumatic experience at age 16. Her mother got violently ill, tried to drown her half-sister, and Lilia witnessed black worms coming out of all of her mother's orifices. She passed out, and when she woke up, her mother was dead. And she was told that it was a suicide. And she did not believe this because she saw those worms, but there was no evidence of the worms afterwards. That was when she was 16. Flash forward to age 20. She's very slowly putting herself through school, also working to help pay the bills so that her little sister, who was also traumatized by this event, is able to be in a mental health school, and she needs to also pay her rent. All these things are kind of going on when she has to write a research paper for her community college biology course, I think biology, and she writes a case study about the black worms, which her professor sends to Nocticadia Dracadia University because this thing is real, and they study that there. And she's blown away finding this out. She gets a full ride scholarship to the university, and she gets put in the courses to study this. Meanwhile, the professor of parasitology is super hot, and immediately something clicks between him and Lilia. There's this mystery of what happened to her mom, this weird disease that they're studying. The professor is mysterious. He's got some stuff going on, got some dark history. This book was just 5 stars. Absolutely amazing. Highly, highly, highly recommend. Check trigger warnings. But yes, Nocticadia. And then I had absolutely terrible book after that. The Book of Cold Cases by Simone St. James. Mystery thriller, 341 pages. Gave this 1 star. Didn't like it at all. This book follows our main character, Shay Collins, who is obsessed with true crime after a kidnapping incident happened to her when she was a kid. And she has a true crime blog, and she gets the opportunity to interview Beth Greer, the most notorious pseudo serial killer in her town of Clear Lake, Oregon. She was arrested for 2 murders, but she was acquitted. And that's how her story ended. But Shay gets the opportunity to interview Beth and learn the truth. And this story is told between flashbacks of present day and 1977 when Beth got arrested. And this book really fell flat for me. I read The Sundown Motel by Simone St. James, and I absolutely love that one. This was similar vibes, but just not good. None of the characters were very interesting. Beth was always angry. If I have to read one more time that Beth was angry or seeing red, I'm gonna fucking explode. The reveal happens like halfway through the book, and there's no other twist after that. It's really not interesting. It was anticlimactic, predictable, the characters weren't likable. I would not recommend this one. That was The Book of Cold Cases. Next, I read a book that I picked up in Barcelona when I went visited Spain. I got the UK cover edition of People We Meet on Vacation. I gave this one 3.75 stars. This is by Emily Henry. It's a romance, 361 pages. This book follows main characters Poppy and Alex, who have been in love with each other basically for 12 years, and neither of them want to admit it. And they've been going on vacations for 10 years together. When something happens on their last vacation, they kind of fall apart, and they spend 2 years not talking to each other, and then for some reason they reconnect and they take one last vacation together, and Poppy tries to see if she can fix the blooming pseudo-romance that was starting to happen between them. So this book flashes back. We'll have present day on their new vacation, but then we'll jump back. We start at the very beginning when they first meet in college, and then each of the vacations they take, and you kind of see the progression of their relationship. This is a friends to lovers, and it's good. I did find Poppy a little bit annoying and frustrating. That's why I didn't quite give it 4 stars. But overall, I really liked it. The banter in this was really, really funny. And yeah, I would recommend picking this up. So those were the 12 books I read in the last 3 months. Hopefully I can try to maybe do more frequent book reviews, maybe like monthly book reviews, but yeah. So if you have any suggestions for books I should pick up, I obviously like a wide range of genres. Leave your suggestions in the comments, and I'll see you guys soon.